Hey everyone, during this module today we're going to talk about healthy communities, some of the different aspects of healthy communities, how those aspects really make a community healthy, and your role as an RA in helping to build those aspects into your community. So to jump in, we're going to look at healthy communication. So healthy communication is really important to a healthy community because it helps students be able to handle conflict appropriately. People have the ability to be able to actually talk about what's bothering them and what's frustrating them and address it directly and choose the best reactions when dealing with it. So for example, if your roommate steals your Cheetos, you're not calling in the SWAT team and everyone else you can think of to come and confront your roommate for stealing the Cheetos, for example. But basically, instead, you're saying, hey, I really didn't appreciate that you took those. Can you not do it in the future? It also helps to communicate needs appropriately. So, you're able to ask for help more effectively and you're able to really just tell people what you need. And, if you're, for example, struggling with something, communicating that in a way that is something that other people will understand as opposed to just expecting people to know what you need when you need it. And this is something that you can help with by really looking to build in early on the ability to talk about things and to build up communication between your students. And this first comes foremost from building relationships with your students, helping your students build relationships between each other, and really just having the relationship piece down. This can happen through social events, traditions, really any number of things. Next thing we're going to look at is inclusive and supportive communities and why that those are big for a strong community in general. So the first aspect of this is just the ability to celebrate difference. So often we look at difference as not a great thing and something to be afraid of. And difference is good. If everyone was the same in the world, no new ideas would ever come up. It basically just can be sitting in a rut. And so the ability to be able to say, hey, you're different and I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what you can teach me is huge. It's also able to be uplifting. This world sucks sometimes, and our news is really good about reporting the sucky parts and not always focusing on the good stuff. And so, a community at the end of the day should be something that lifts you up, helps you to feel a part of something bigger. And this is really big for you as an RA because throughout the year you may have people transferring onto your floors, either from other houses or who've been living off campus and on the wait list, really any number of things. And so, developing that community early on that's able to say, hey, we're excited for you to come and be a part of us. We want you to be a part of something bigger like we are, and we're going to do whatever we need to do to get you included is huge. All your students, almost all of your students will be coming into a new community. You'll have some returners, and the trick is just getting them on board and helping them to see the value of, expanding their groups. But a big part of this is just helping the group to see the value in this. And honesty is huge as well, because honesty is that ability to have that mutual trust. Sometimes this needs to be managed a little bit because if your entire house leaves their doors unlocked every night and while they go to class, it only takes that one student from another floor to come and be like, oh, hey, look at this. And then there's a lot of sad residents. And so helping people to recognize that trust is crucial, but it needs to be managed well. And so it's, looking for other ways to trust each other. It's being able to talk to each other about different issues and other things going on. And so another piece of this is holding each other accountable. It's being able to say, hey, to be honest, I really didn't appreciate when you did this because it's not really something that I think is something our floor is about. So for example, if there's vandalism on the floor, it's having that conversation and saying, hey, that affects us all and we don't appreciate it. We want you to stop. And sorry, to touch on it one last piece real quick, your role in this is to just model that honesty. If your residents don't pick up or don't see you as being an honest individual, how can they ever hope to emulate that with each other? So that's, if you say you're going to do something, it's doing something, it's holding each other accountable, and really just looking to build up that trust with your residents through relationships. Staying engaged, big piece of this is getting everyone's voice in. So whether that's social events, whether that's house traditions, whether that's getting everyone on board when you're developing a cardboard boat or safe house, it's just helping to people have that voice. It makes people want to be a part of the community as opposed to feel like they have to be or like it's just a place to live, and it really just helps to develop that sense of belonging that is really, really, really big for helping people want to stay a part of a community. Healthy boundaries is the next one we're going to look at, and this one's really big because there's a couple very, very, very negative examples of when boundaries become too blurred or too strict. So, too strict is no one really, like, there's no gray area. It's if you come to me after this time, sorry, it doesn't matter if the world's ending. That's not good. That's too strict. Versus too loose is when groups of residents will take it on themselves to, take care of each other with issues they're not really equipped to want to do. So for example, if you have a student with an eating disorder and the rest of the floor says, we're going to help you and we're going to take it on ourselves to help you. It's great that they care that much, but that care is very misplaced and can do a lot of damage because they're not equipped to be able to help each other out with that type of issue. And so, pushing people to be able to support each other. And another example of of boundaries being too loose are when a group gets so close that they can't hold each other accountable anymore because they're all, we would never sell each other out, boundaries need to be there in place to hold each other accountable as well so that you can have those conversations and say, hey, I'm really sorry that this is upsetting to you, but this is something you agreed to in our community agreement at the beginning of the year. And it's knowing those personal limits. So, for example, you as the RA have to be aware that sometimes you can't help with everything and there's things that you just aren't equipped to help with. So, if you have a student who is, thinking about suicide and you can't help them by yourself. So it's knowing that limit and knowing that you need to be able to pull someone in because you know your boundaries and you know what you're able to give and not give. It's giving appropriate space. Not everyone is an extrovert, so it's being able to say, okay, you're not an extrovert. Let's see what else we can do to make you feel comfortable. And it's helping your community to recognize that not everyone's going to want to spend 24/7 around each other. And so with healthy boundaries, it's just role modeling these to your students, setting up your own boundaries, talking to them about why you set your boundaries in the first house meeting, and just living out those best you can. Being respectful is just listening to each other and accepting each other's differences of opinions. This is very similar to the inclusive community from earlier on. People are going to have different opinions, and you're never going to win. You're never going to convince someone by winning an argument with them. And our culture is too much based around thinking, oh, if I argue hard enough, they'll listen to me and I'll be right. When you're never going to be right in their eyes, and they're never going to be right in your eyes if you just have a difference of opinion. So it's being able to accept that those differences may be a thing and being able to be okay with the difference of opinion and recognize that someone's difference of opinion doesn't define them. So the impacts of these different aspects on a community are kind of as follows. So, it's that shared decision making is really beneficial for long term. Almost all of your students at some point will probably need to be working in groups and teams, whether in classes or in jobs. And so by developing those, that ability to work in shared decision making and group problem solving is huge because it's going to help them in their careers and their classes and just build in a skill that they'll need for everything. The better grades, increased performance, and better health. If students aren't stressing about dynamics on the floor, drama, gossip, whatever, they're going to be able to focus on what's important and they're going to be able to focus on being successful at college. It's going to help with that personal growth and sense of fulfillment and personal acceptance because if you feel like you have a place, you have a community, you have a home, you're going to want to be a part of something bigger. So those are some of the different pieces of a healthy community. You have a huge role in making that happen, and I hope you take some time to really think about how you're going to make your community healthy.